Yo, what up YouTube? It's Bryce. I'm going to be doing my Last Warrior from Another Planet deck profile today. It is loosely based on a deck profile from Vexicus466's channel of some guy that topped a regional with a very, very similar deck that this is based on. And there's some card changes and stuff to fit me and stuff, but yeah, just wanted to give credit where credit's due, so let's get to the deck profile. Without further ado. That was not intended, but I figured I'd go for it since it was in my head. We run the Stratos, obviously. It searches stuff, no need to really explain Stratos. Woodsman, what this card does is it posts up with its 2k ass and searches polymerization for you, plus it's a hero, so it's good. Bubbleman, special summon this card from your hand in some situations. You don't do it that often in the deck, but it's a hero, a warrior, and a water, so it's just good for several reasons. Yugioh, this is just one of the fusion materials for Last Warrior, and that's basically what's in the deck for Prisma. Blackluster Soldier, the ritual monster, not the other one. And that helps you get this guy out, Dragon Master Knight, via Prisma, Future Fusion, and some replacement fusion guys like that. Or Dragon's Mirror. But anyway, that's a BLS. People are like, that's a blue card, what you doing, son? And then, yeah, you get out a 5k beater on them and slap them with it. The Earth Hexield Fusion. This card can replace any fusion material monster, and although all the attribute fusion replacement things do that, you can have this and a Zombie of the Dark on the field and sort of hard summon into this guy, Last Warrior. Just because the card allows you to send this and a fusion material monster to the grave to summon an earth fusion monster, so you can also sort of hard summon into an elemental hero Gaia that way, so it's good for the deck basically. One effect veiler, it's a light, it's a tuner, it negates effects, but it does kind of clog the hand for Bubbleman, so that's why we play the one, in my opinion. Like, I would not, he ran one and I would not run more than one, so yeah. 2 Card Trooper. This can mill to fuel your Miracle Fusion and Dragon's Mirror, but I don't like blindly milling in the deck. I like setting it to draw a card, or you can get in there for 19 and blindly mill, but if you don't have one of those 2 cards in your hand, I don't necessarily recommend milling blindly, because there's not that many good things to get in grave, unless you have one of those 2 cards. But anyway, we run 2 King of the Swamp. Highly, 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 highly recommend getting a third of this. But I can't find my third. I know I have one. But yeah, I run a replacement for it. I'll talk about later. But yeah, King of the Swamp, it's so good. Replaces any fusion material monster. It's a water for 0, which is the most common hero you get out in this deck. And also it searches polymerization, so it's like you're running 5 polymerization plus a Woodsman, which is like running additional. So you consistently get polymerization, basically. So that's good. But 6 is better than 5. So yeah, 3 Prisma. Dump anything, dump that guy, dump Yugioh, dump BLS. Just, it becomes something's name, basically. It's too good. Prisma's Prisma, you guys already understand it. And it's a hero, and a light, what more do you want? And a warrior, level 4, just slaps. 3 Zombie of the Dark. I'm looking for star foils on these, because that would look cool. But anyway, it's a warrior. It's 2100 level 4, so it just posts up on the field and they don't get over it, so it's a decent first turn play. And then you can hard summon, like I said, with Hexield Fusion into Last Warrior. Anyway, it's the other fusion material for Last Warrior, basically. So, yeah. The only reason the deck's successful is because one of the fusion materials happens to not suck, and that's Zombie of the Dark. Anyway, on to the spells. Darkhold, Monsterborn, Heavy Storm. These cards are good in every deck, but Heavy Storm's amazing because you don't really run that much back row. And Monsterborn's amazing because bringing back Last Warrior is so devastating after they probably struggled to get over it, and you're just like, bring it back. And then they are sad. Book of Moon. This is because it is a defensive spell card, basically. It's a quick play, so it's like a trap, but not. And Book's good in general, but yeah, it's Book. Forbidden Chalice is another sort of defensive / offensive spell card. It can protect you, sort of, and at the same time, you can Chalice Rykos, which is one of the only main decked outs to This guy, usually. You attack into Raikou, you flip that Chalice, and then you're like, duh! And that's always good. Rhoda searches a lot of stuff. Searches your Stratos or Prisma directly if you want to summon the Prisma that turn, because Stratos isn't always the best play with this, or at least in this deck. But also it can search Zombie the Dark, so it's just really versatile in the deck. Or you just pull some Bubble Beat shenanigans, set your hand, grab Bubble Man, special one. One salvage, this is the replacement I talked about for, where is he? King of the Swamp. Basically you can grab this back, you can grab Bubble Man and Maryukatai back, so it's a +1, +1s are good. I'm thinking of maybe keeping this in the deck even if I do get a third King of the Swamp, and yeah, it's just my personal tech, I guess. One Future Fusion, dump whatever you want to the grave and then Miracle Fuse usually, or you can dump an Attribute Fusion-y guy, or basically a replacement Fusion guy. Hex Sealed or King of the Swamp, and BLS, and then Dragon's Mirror immediately for Dragon Master Knight. So you just get a 5k beater, and you technically don't minus, because it'll bring out another one. But I only play one, so that's a flaw in my build, but whatever. 2 Forbidden Lance, even more defense/offense. Basically, first turn, you get out Last Warrior, you set Lance. Literally, what can they do? They can't. They try to use some sort of removal, you flip the Lance. They can't summon over you, so you just lived. It's really good in this deck. And a lot of decks, but anyway. 2 Duality. Yeah, you special summon a lot in this deck, but you also don't a lot. Like, it helps you get your combo pieces, which is essential to winning, because you gotta get this guy out if you want to win. Well, actually you don't. 0 is actually a really good card too, but most of the time, 80% of the time, if you win, it's because of this card. So, once he's on the board, then you can freely Duality, because you can't summon anyway. So, yeah, Duality's good. 2 is good. 3 Miracle Fusion, another reason the deck's good. You get out 0 most often with this, definitely, but you run the other attributes as well. But Miracle Fusion is just a busted card. You just bring out stuff. It's pretty good. You guys already know that, though. 3 Polymerization. You get this really consistently in your deck, and it's also the only way to bring out this guy other than hard summoning with the Earth Hex Sealed Fusion. But anyway, Polymerization. A little known fact that Polymerization fuses 2 fusion material monsters to form a new fusion monster, so usually your opponent will know what Polymerization does already, so you'll be good, but if you happen to have this one, you're kind of screwed, because you can't bring out anything from your fusion deck, because they're not new fusion material or new fusion monsters, they're old fusion monsters that people already know. So if you get stuck with that LOB Poly and you get Rule Sharked, man, watch out, because yeah. We run 1 Call the Haunted, even though we do play Dakri, because you just call the Haunted stuff. You can call the Haunted and do Exceed plays. You can call the Haunted this guy back, which is devastating. And yeah, it's good, but again, we only play the 1 because we do main deck 3 Decree, because it stops a lot of outs. Once you get Last Warrior out, if you have a Decree, you win most of the time. Like, what are they going to do? And a lot of decks don't even run back row, it's just they rely on their monster effects, and then you're like, derp. Just win in 4 turns. It's really good. The deck's so fun and so trollsy because people don't know what Last Warrior does, and people hate losing to cards they don't know, as I learned in my 60 card deck. Anyway, let's talk about the fusion deck, guys. Pretty relevant in this deck. Elemental Hero Gaia. You can Miracle Fusion for him with Earths, obviously, or Super Poly for him with Earths, because if you do side that. But Gaia is really good. Or you can, honestly, Polymerization for a Gaia. Basically, Gaia's not just in the deck for Super Poly. Gaia's a really good card. He beats over stuff. And then 2-0. The MVP fusion other than Last Warrior, probably. I get this out definitely the most with Miracle Fusion. Or I can technically Polymerization for it. And he's 0. He wipes your opponent's field. A key play, though, with the deck is you have 0 on board. You summon Last Warrior. It destroys all your monsters, so 0 destroys all their monsters then, and then they can only set. So, you know, derp, basically. Nova Master, you can't really get this out main decked unless you Monster Reborn something in Miracle Fusion with it, but it's there for the side game. and because I'm missing cards that would ideally be in the extra deck, basically. 2 Shining. 2's alright, but like I've literally never gotten out 2 in one game, so if I had to cut something, I might cut that, but there's definitely other candidates to cut as well, so... Shining's Shining, though. It's still a really, really, really good card. 1 Great Tornado is not just there for Super Poly either. It's there for Miracle Fusion, and I guess technically Polymerization, like everything. But it's so good, it halves all your opponent's attacks, and it's 2800. Like, what? What? It's not just there for Super Poly. This card slaps. Electrum. No, you can't get this guy out, unfortunately. It's just there for Bubble Man to Prisma. You send Bubble Man to Grave. It's not that great of a play, but the reason this card's in the deck is like if you have a Miracle Fusion and a Prisma, that's all you have. You're desperate as hell. You go Prisma, dump Bubble Man, Miracle Fuse for 0, and then it turned into a pretty good play. The other guy that built the deck ran Tempest to dump his Bubble Man, but why not run Electrum? He's gold. And then we have 2 Last Warrior from Another Planet. Rarely will you get out 2, but you definitely want to have the 2, I'd say. Just in case they deal with the first one, get out another one, and then you just slap them even that much more. This is definitely the win condition of the deck. If you guys don't know what it does, when it's summoned, or when it's special summoned, you destroy all monsters that you control. So if they happen to book it and then they don't get over it, you can flip it back over without destroying all your monsters. But anyway, as long as it's face up, neither player can summon, but you can set. So yeah, usually they just set stuff, you keep running it over, and once they run out of monsters, you start inflicting damage, and then you eventually win. 1 Dragon Master Knight, I would recommend a second, just because of the Future Fusion Dragon's Mirror play I talked about. But it's only hurt me one time, or there's only been one time when I've wanted a second one. So, yeah, one's alright, but if you have a second, definitely run it over a second Shining or over the Nova Master you can't even get out. Yeah, and if you have a Terra Firma, you can dump your Woodsman the same way I talked about with the Bubble Man play. You can dump Woodsman instead. So Terra Firma is another good card for the extra deck. But yeah, I don't have one. It's supposed to be coming in the mail. Anyway, Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. I do side Les Sabre Dragon, so I can scoop up their machines, or I can scoop up their Cyber Dragon and machines. It's just pretty good. I think it warrants running the card. Anyway, we run Cataster, which is also different than that guy. But it's just because, obviously play Veiler and a ton of level 4s, and Cataster I figure is the most common synchro I'd go for, so I put it in. Plus it's really good. Blade Armor Ninja, since you run a bunch of heroes that are level 4, and also Zombie of the Dark. So this guy comes out fairly frequently, and you can just wipe out their last 44, or just beat over something and then still inflict damage. It's just pretty good. Blade Armor Ninja. You can run it, plus it's a cool card, so I'm just glad I can run it in this deck. And then Maestroke, the best rank 4 in my opinion, which is where I run him over Utopia or something. If you guys, oops, bumped the camera a little, but if you guys want to run Utopia over like the Nova Master or Shining, I suppose go ahead, but this is my build, because I'm me, and not you, so you can do what you want. Anyway, the side deck, I changed this kind of a lot from the guy that topped, but anyway. 2 Shadow Imprisoning, which you did play. Yeah, I played a Kree main deck, but Shadow Imprisoning is so crippling to stuff that it hits that I think it's worth running anyway. Same thing with Chain Disappearance. It's so good against the stuff that it hits that I think it's worth it anyway. Plus, you can always side out Decree. Although I don't think I would, personally. Unless they're not playing. You know what I mean. You guys can think, basically. Chalice, again, it's good against Raikou. Side it in against the Chao's Dragons. And any other stuff that you think the flip effect would be, like, good against you. Put that in. Or anything that you'd potentially Veiler, I guess. Put that in, because why not? Stops effects. 3 MST. I think that guy ran 2 in his side, but I think if something's going to be hurting you and you're going to need MST, you throw in 3. Yeah, 3 MST. Pops back row. 2 Super Poly. Again, he ran 3, I run 2. You could do 2 MST, 3 Super Poly. But yeah, Super Poly just makes for fun plays against, like, everything. Pretty much everything but Darks, and then you got Shadow Mirror for that. You just take their stuff, you fuse with it, they can't stop it. swag, basically. And it allows you to run fun cards like this guy in your side deck. This is a Dragonite Draco Equest. It's a fusion of one Dragon Synchro and one Warrior. So you Super Poly with their Dragon Synchro and your Warrior. And then you bring out this guy and they're like, dude, what's that do? And you're like, 32. And yeah, it's just the fun of people getting beat by cards they don't know. It's just very entertaining to me. One Mole. Mole's Mole. This is a last minute decision, but it is Mole at the same time. It just takes care of Zenmains in any Exceed / Synchro, so pretty versatile. I figure you can splash it into anything. Because you can. 2 Raikou. The deck already plays Trooper, which proves that milling's not too detrimental to it. Plus, Raikou just makes Shining and Light Pulsar miss their timing, obviously. Which we all already know, but anyway. Raikou, just pop some cards, mill some cards. It's a light. Raikou's Raikou, it's good. I hate that logic, or that explanation, that style of explanation, but really that's why it's good. Destroys cards, makes cards miss timing. Yeah. 2 Cyber Dragon, the last 2 cards I'm going to talk about. 21 Beater, beats over stuff, it's a light, scoops up machines, it's Starfoil. What more do you want in a card? So yeah, basically that's my last Warrior deck. I'd say it opens with Last Warrior like at least half the time, and if you open Last Warrior, it's very hard for them to deal with it. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. It's fun, and it's pretty competitive. It wins quite a bit. I don't know my win-loss ratio, but I definitely win a lot more than I lose. Yeah, so it's a really fun deck. If you're going to build it on Dueling Network, though, I'd recommend definitely 3 of this guy right here, 3 King of the Swamp. You can choose what to take out, but I guess I'd recommend Surfacing or Dragon's Mirror. Yeah. That's the deck, guys. Thanks for watching, and peace. And sorry for the long video, but yeah, peace.